When it comes to hunting, I absolutely love a challenge. And honestly, I don't know if there's much more of a challenge than going out spot and stalk hunting for archery antelope. It is extremely difficult. It's right there. Knocking out. And all of a sudden we saw just a little bit of a flash in the trees. So we got down and just started watching. The next thing I know, these antelope are coming straight to us. Right. When it comes to hunting, I absolutely love a challenge. And honestly, I don't know if there's much more of a challenge than going out spot and stalk hunting for archery antelope. It is extremely difficult. You're going after something that literally uses their eyesight. They say that it's like an 8 or 10 power binocular, and you're trying to stalk them in open country, and it can be super challenging.
They got some of the best eyes in the business, and they're hard to get close to, so it's gonna be tough, and lots of stalks, and persistence just pays off, I guess. We're in southwestern New Mexico, the Gila. Kind of high desert, big pines, about 8,000 feet elevation. We got some big mountains around. We got a huge elk herd, lots of game to chase around. We got 11 different big game species, and we pretty well just hunt all the time, all kinds of different game, and it's a sportsman's paradise if you're into chasing big game, because we got a lot of it.
We're out here in New Mexico, and I'm really excited. We've got an antelope tag, and this is a really hard to draw tag. So we're out here, we've got 4 days to get it done. It's gonna be awesome. So this morning we're just gonna get up higher. We're gonna glass, try to find some antelope. We're in an area, he said, that's got a lot of water. So water holes aren't gonna be very good, but there's a lot of antelope there. So it's all gonna be stalking. It's not actually that cold. Pork chop's acting like it's freezing and shaking, but it's gonna be a nice day, probably high in the 80s. But we got a little bit of cover out here, so it's totally new country. I've never hunted antelope where we have this many trees, so should be fun. We're gonna try it all spot and stalk, see how it goes. Now what was cool about this is I drew a tag that I never even would have thought to put in for. But this year I signed up with Huntin' Fool, and they put in tags for me all across the country, which is awesome because there's so many things that I should be putting in for, but I'll miss deadlines or just things get in the way and you're not thinking about it. So they put in for me, and all of a sudden I get a notification that I drew a New Mexico antelope tag for Unit 15, and this was a premier tag. So I was super excited, gave Mick a call and said, hey, you guys got any openings for this? Because if I'm gonna go down and get a big antelope, these are the guys I wanted to hunt with.
So Melissa called us, got a Unit 15 archery antelope tag. Very, very hard unit to draw. It's a tough unit to hunt as well. We don't have just an extreme amount of antelope, but the antelope we do have, they get big. It's got some state records, and a lot of the biggest bucks around the country come from this area here in southwestern New Mexico. really no rhyme or reason to it, maybe just genetics or minerals in the dirt, however, but we kill a lot of Boone and Crockett antelope every year. And it's just a great area to hunt big antelope bucks. If you're looking for a trophy antelope buck, this is a great area to come hunt them.
Well, we've gotten up to this high point and you can see for a long way. I know we've got 2 bucks spotted. There's a big herd out there, but the heat waves are just so bad right now you can barely tell what it is. This closer buck, great spot to be able to go after him, but just not that big of a buck. So we're just gonna wait it out up here, see if anything else shows up. But he was saying there's probably been 4 or 5 bucks that they saw living right in this area. So it's just a matter of time. I love this spot. It's huge, wide open, and there's just enough cover that I think if we spot one, there's plenty of cover to be able to get in and try to stalk in on them. So that's important out here, and I think it should be pretty good.
Sportsman's Alliance, our heritage, our fight, protecting hunting from coast to coast.
Trapping is an important wildlife management tool, and just as importantly, when animal rights organizations are able to stop or restrict it, they use those same arguments to come after mainstream hunting. The Sportsman's Alliance has protected trappers in Maine in 2010 and 2014 in court cases that could have been used to stop hunting and even fishing in the future. Just another fun fact showing you how sportsmen and women are helping make a difference. When it comes to hunting antelope, I've hunted them in Montana and in Colorado, and I've had great luck, especially with the bow. But probably 90% of that time, I'm sitting at a water hole or over an alfalfa field, and I'm waiting for the antelope to come to me while I sit in a blind. It's a very effective way, but of course it can get a little boring. Now, one year out in Montana, I tried doing some spot and stock. Adam Groning and I, we were out there, we were decoying them in. We had 1 buck after another coming, but the hard part is, they were long shots. So coming into this hunt, I knew that was something that I had to be ready for. Much longer shots, but you're always hopeful that maybe somehow we can decoy one in nice and close, but you've got to be ready for those long shots, and you have to be ready to put on the miles because not every stalk's gonna work. Let's face it, it's a percentage game. The more times you go out, the better your chances are gonna be. Sure, you might get lucky on your first one out, but more than likely, that's not gonna happen. So you've gotta learn to adapt and figure out what's working, figure out where the antelope are at that time, and go from there. So that's exactly what Jeremy and I were planning to do. We were gonna go out, try stalking them, maybe try decoying them, but most of all, just see what works and go from there.
We try to hunt water. We don't get to a lot though, because as soon as we start hunting antelope, the monsoons show up here. So we get to do a lot of spot and stock. But we're a little bit fortunate around here. Like I was saying, we got a lot of different types of terrain, and so we get to hunt them in the trees a little bit. And we'll be in and out, mixing it up with them in the trees, and if we get lucky enough, we'll get close enough to get a shot. He's right in the bottom. I think he may have went under the hill, actually. He's right. Well, you can just see the white of his back. Just cruising right over the ridge here. Last time I was here, there was 5 bucks living right here. And we've maybe seen one of them, if he's the one out there with those does.
So that first morning we headed out and we jumped on a UTV and ATVs and went way back in there. And I was blown away by the number of antelope we saw. We saw a huge tall buck. The problem is he was with a big group of does, and I thought, okay, maybe he's gonna start running other bucks off. So we sat back and we watched him through the spot and scope. They were up bedded right by the power lines, and you could see that buck running off, and just when you'd think, okay, this might be our chance to go after him, well, then he'd head right back into his does. And eventually we decided this is just not gonna pay off. What we really needed is a lone buck in the trees. And when we were sitting up high, well, we saw that. There was a lone buck walking through the trees. It's perfect, there's lots of trees in here.
So I've got lots of ways to stalk in, but we gotta be able to see him to figure out what's gonna be the best move. Too small. Too small. But the trouble is, he just wasn't quite big enough. Cool to see, and what it did is it really got my hopes up that that is possible to see. We just gotta hang in there, keep looking. We had plenty of time still. This was the first day, and we were having a great time.
This segment was brought to you by Boss Buck. For the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market, choose Boss Buck feeders. Now you're getting serious. Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by hard-hitting Easton Arrows, Golden Triangle Whitetail, Winchester, the American legend, National Deer Alliance, HHA Sports, the leader in single pin technology. Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry Technology Plus. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. Rage Broadheads, leading the evolution in lethal technology. Convergent Hunting Solutions, where experience, innovation, and passion meet. Spy Point Trail Cameras. Sportsman's Alliance, protecting hunting from coast to coast. Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler company. And Moose Utility Division, your leader in ATV, UTV accessories.
So after a solid day of putting in our time, glassing, and really hunting that big, more open country, we decided to move locations and hunt closer to camp. Now before going out, I thought, I need to shoot my bow again, because as much bouncing around as we did, I thought there's no telling if this bow is off. Well, yesterday we were out riding around on the ATV and UTVs, and I have no idea how much my bow got bounced around, so before we go out today, I wanted to shoot a couple of times just to make sure everything's on. So I'm just gonna shoot at 20 here, and then 40, and then hopefully we'll head out. We're down here in New Mexico hunting antelope, all spot and stock, so we could have a lot longer shot. So just wanna make sure everything's on, and then we'll be heading out. But everything was still on, so we headed back out, started glassing, and we were finding bucks out there. In fact, we found one way out there that was probably, I don't know, a couple thousand yards off. And luckily, Jeremy said, I know exactly how to get around to get on him. So you're thinking if we just hop back in, go all the way around, come on the side of that?
Yep. There's a road that goes around the end and on the back side. And we'll kind of park right where it starts to drop off, and then we'll just hike up and over the top. And they should be right there under us.
Be even better if he does split off and go by himself.
Yeah,
and then
be
that'd
perfect. Be perfect. It's a huge advantage if you can get around them and stay in front of them, or use another road to get you just a little bit closer, so you don't have to hike your feet off. Just kind of know what's going on, where they like to go. If you know they like to go to this park after you move them out of here, it's a huge advantage to kind of know the antelope and know what they do.
And that's where it becomes so beneficial to have someone who's familiar with the area, because if I saw him from that far, I'd have no clue how to go after him. So we went all the way around, got set up, and sure enough, we got right on this buck. He was cruising probably faster than anything I had seen before, but he was looking for does, he was in the trees, the perfect setup. And unfortunately, we were just this much behind him. We just couldn't quite catch up with him, and you never want to try to be following him. We wanted to get in front of him, and it just didn't work out. We got probably about parallel with him, and somehow he saw something he didn't like, and we tried decoying him, but at that point he had already made up his mind, and he was out of there. But the good news is, there was another stock under our belt, and we felt this could absolutely work.
Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews Archery. Field and Stream, where traditions begin. ScoutLookWeather.com. Download the free ScoutLook hunting app for your smartphone. Rangemaster Trailers, luxury gone rugged. Master Hand Milling, revolutionizing the range. Reinhardt, the best archery targets in the world. Garmin, enhance your outdoor adventures. Winchester, the American legend. S4 Gear. Binodoc, what a cup holder should be. SCI, first for hunters. EOTech, transform your arsenal. Waterhole, create water sources that attract and hold wildlife. And Boss Buck, for the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market. Now you're getting serious. This segment was brought to you by SCI, protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation. SCI is first for hunters, but first can't stay first without you. Join like your way of life depends on it.
One of the things I love about hunting New Mexico is just how much country you have to hunt. I mean, it just blows my mind. I'm coming from the Midwest where people might own a small section and that's what you have to hunt. But out here, we can drive and drive and drive and you're still in areas that you can hunt. So it really makes it fun. So one of the important things is finding antelope that are in an area that's stalkable. Just because you find one doesn't mean it's even worth your time going after it if they're in the wide open. So you really got to plan accordingly. And once we found them, well, then we were trying to plan out our stalks as to how we were going to get close to them. So as we were going through, we saw 2 bucks. Now these 2 bucks, they were pretty much on their own and they were in some country that had a little bit of a roll to it. So we decided to make a plan and kind of try to cut them off, go where they were headed, and it almost worked. We were getting through, we couldn't see them, just sneaking along, being patient, and all of a sudden we could see them and it looked like they were going to come out in the draw right below us. So we were trying to move up to the next bush, and of course, somehow we got busted along the way and these 2 bucks just took off. We just had 2 bucks that were so close. We were trying to get to that tree right there. If we could have just got there, I think they'd have come through. I don't know when they spotted us, but it's tough in this open country. But it was a perfect situation. We just kind of kept creeping along, getting low, getting a good point, and no luck.
Darn it.
Antelope, I don't know what the score is, but we're still at 0.
We're still at 0.
As the time was winding down, well, we were still super confident. We thought it could happen, but I'm not gonna lie, it is not easy. And if I had to give a percentage on what are the chances of getting a buck, well, I'd say they're getting slimmer and slimmer. So as we were driving, we decided to look back where we had spotted that one lone buck in the trees. Jeremy had said there's these dry lake beds that are hard to see from anywhere else.
So we came back, started looking around, and went to those lake beds that we hadn't showed up in yet, and there they were.
Are you thinking just get in the trees so we got some of the shadows in there?
Yep, exactly. Work our way through there, get the wind right.
Could you see how many does he had with him?
4 or 5 maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
A couple of little ones, I think.
I'll follow you.
Kind of kept the wind right and went really slow and didn't make any hasty or fast decisions, and it worked out for us. He's right there, right there. Knocking arrow, knocking arrow.
And all of a sudden we saw just a little bit of a flash in the trees. So we got down and just started watching. The next thing I know, these antelope are coming straight to us. How far is he?
30. Yeah.
Beautiful buck. That's awesome. What a feeling of accomplishment to be able to go out to do this. I have never hunted antelope in the trees.
Yeah. We're in the pines.
This was one of the most difficult and then the most rewarding hunts
Yes.
I've probably done in a long time.
Oh, it's huge, especially with 3 of us, the camera, in the trees on an antelope, 30 yards. It was huge, yeah, you know, and it's just, wow, we got one, you know, this is awesome. And especially with the bow and on camera, and we got everything just how we wanted it, you know, it just pretty well worked out perfect.
And it was truly one of the best feelings of accomplishment that I had had. We had worked at this so hard. We got it done.
We got it done.
It's been awesome. Well, thank
3
you so
hard
much.
days, but we got it done.
I am super proud. He was a beautiful buck, probably one of my biggest I've ever taken, and for sure one of the most proud moments that I've had as a hunter. I think we took it to a whole new level this time. Spot and stock hunting with 3 of us, camera, and we got it done, and I had an awesome time down in New Mexico.